has proved that it is not true that once a thief, always a thief. The actual happenings in her career have been more extraordinary than the imagination of any novelist has dreamed, more surprising than any scene on the stage. Yet nearly every one of those whose exploits she has recounted here is now an outcast, has served a good share of life in prison, is in poverty, or has died poor. Surely, as she has asserted again and again, and hopes to abundantly prove, crime does not pay. This great truth forced itself upon her after many, many years of profitless life in the underworld, and her own life experience and her present fortune of $500,000, all honestly acquired, have demonstrated that half the industry and ability that great criminals expend will return them richer and more enduring success in honest fields of endeavor. Sophie Lyons, Queen of the Burglars, Chapter 1. How I Began My Career of Crime. I was not quite 6 years old when I stole my first pocketbook. I was very happy because I was petted and rewarded. My wretched stepmother patted my curly head, gave me a bag of candy, and said I was a good girl. My stepmother was a thief. My good father never knew this. He went to the war at President Lincoln's call for troops and left me with his second wife, my stepmother. Scarcely had my father's regiment left New York than my stepmother began to busy herself with my education, not for a useful career, but for a career of crime. Patiently, she instructed me, beginning with the very rudiments of thieving, how to help myself to things that lay unprotected in candy shops, drug stores, and grocery stores. I was made to practice at home until my childish fingers had acquired considerable dexterity. Finally, I was told that money was the really valuable thing to possess, and that the successful men and women were those who could take pocketbooks. With my stepmother as the model to practice on, I was taught how to open shopping bags, feel out the loose money or the pocketbook, and get it into my little hands without attracting the attention of my victims. In those days, leather bags were not common. Most women carried cloth or knitted shopping bags. I was provided with a very sharp little knife, and was carefully instructed how to slit open the bag so that I could get my fingers in. And at last, when I had arrived at a sufficient degree of proficiency, I was taken out by my stepmother and we traveled over into New York's shopping district. I was sent into a store and soon came out with a pocketbook. My stepmother petted me and rewarded me. Arrested for picking pockets. That was the beginning of my career as a professional criminal. I did not know it was wrong to steal. Nobody ever taught me that. What I was told was wrong and what I was punished for was when I came home with only one pocketbook instead of many. All during my early childhood, I did little but steal and was never sent to school. I did not learn to read or write until I was 25 years old. If my stepmother brought me to a place where many persons congregated, and I was slow in getting pocketbooks and other articles, she would stick a pin into my arm to remind me that I must be more industrious. If a pin was not convenient, she would step on my toes or pinch me when occasion made her think I was in need of some such stimulant. One time we went over to Hoboken to a place where a merry-go-round was operating, and my mother sent me into the crowds to take pocketbooks and anything else I could put my hands on. A detective saw me take a woman's pocketbook, and he carried me off to jail in his arms, my stepmother disappearing in the crowd. I remained in the Hoboken jail several days and was very happy there, for the policemen used to give me candy and let me play around the place, and did not beat me as my stepmother used to do. A strange woman came and took me home, for my absence was felt because of the loss of the money I used to bring home every night. I was arrested very often when a small girl, but usually got out after a few days, as my stepmother knew how to bring influence to bear in my favor. One time I was sent to Randall's Island, and used to play with the daughters of the assistant superintendent, whose name was Jones. The little girls learned from their father that I was a thief, and they used to sympathize with me and make things pleasant, knowing that it was not my fault, but the fault of my stepmother who forced me to do wrong. A thief from the cradle. I did most of my stealing when a little girl by putting my hands into men's and women's pockets, but I...